Why Demon Slayer games never die. Now, this video is going to be covering the topic of Demon Slayer games on Roblox and why they never die. Or it seems like they never die. Currently on Roblox, I feel like the games that thrive the most are actually Demon Slayer games. Demon Slayer games usually follow the same pattern where you spawn inside the world as, just a regular human and a tragedy happened to you. And since this tragedy happened to you, you walk down the path of becoming a demon slayer, going on to slay the demons, and then you go on to learn your breathing and complete the final selection. Usually Demon Slayer games typically follow the same route, and it seems like it actually works for every single Demon Slayer game. Demon Slayer games on Roblox, even after their initial hype when they're released, and I'll say like 3 to 4 months later once all of that stuff dies down, they still tend to average a very good amount of players to this day. And I feel like a prime example of this is actually going to be Project Slayers. Project Slayers currently, at the time that I'm recording this, has 22,000 players playing the game. Now, it is a Saturday night, but even on some school days, Project Slayers averages like 10,000 players. And keep in mind, Project Slayers' last major update was literally on the 4th of November in 2022, which means it's been a couple of months, around 6 months, since update 1 for Project Slayers came out, and the game is still averaging over 15,000 players. Which is just crazy. 15,000 players is not a small amount. It is actually insane for a game that literally where the main thing that you do is actually farm bosses and just repetitively grind. And I also wanted to say thanks to the sponsor of this video, which is me. If you are liking the video, feel free to like and subscribe, because it seems like whenever I ask, people actually do it, which is a good thing. I really do appreciate that. So off of that, I honestly feel like the perfect way to structure this video is to break down the 3 games that I'm going to be talking about. And these 3 games I'm going to be discussing are Project Slayers, DemonFall, and Wisteria/Wisteria 2. Now, there has been much more Demon Slayer games on the platform, a lot more, for example, like Demon Slayer Burning Ashes or Demon Slayer Midnight Sun. It's just that I don't want this video to be too long, and I feel like these are the most important Demon Slayer games that people really do have a lot of memories from. So we might as well start off with Project Slayers. Now, Project Slayers, the reason as to why I feel like this game does not die is just because of how consistent it is and what you're actually going to get. And what I mean by this is that when you think of a Project Slayers update, you can kind of expect multiple things. One thing you can expect from Project Slayers almost all the time is that it's going to look good. I personally don't like the grinding in Project Slayers, but I would be sitting here lying to you if I say that it's not a beautiful looking game. The graphics in Project Slayers and the amount of detail put into the little things is just really, really good. The breedings in Project Slayers I feel like have the best animations, and that's one of the important things for a Demon Slayer game. If you have very good animations on your breeding or your demon arts, people will definitely always come back to it and play it. And Project Slayers also is consistent in what you're going to be getting for the update, which is going to be a new place to grind. Project Slayers is not known for its PvP because it is pretty bad, and by bad I'm just mean you would lose almost all your HP or you would just get one combo. There's an evasive system, but we're not really even going to get into that. And how being consistent helps for Project Slayers to actually keep a player base is because there's not really going to be anything very hard for the players to do, and it's not something that's just like, I guess, too easy for them to not want to do it. What I'm trying to say is that if you have something that's very consistent and you're used to it and you actually enjoy it a good amount, there's no reason for you to not continue doing it. The main thing that you do in Project Slayers is grind, and if you want to grind bosses for very low drop chances with really good animations, then you can do that. A lot of people on Roblox preferably choose to employ PvE more than player versus player content. So a game that has very good graphics with PvE being its main source of stuff to do inside the game is just really good. And then you add clans on top of that and the huge amount of spins that they give us. Once you pull those very rare clans and stuff, you get that dopamine effect. And the dopamine effect is pretty much just getting pleasure or satisfaction because you achieve something. And the dopamine effect you'll be getting from Project Slayers is getting the rare drop or getting the clan that you want. A lot of people that play Project Slayers, the main thing that they do is literally just farm these bosses consistently to get these very low drop chances so that they can get the items that they want. It saves a lot, and I definitely do feel like this is one of the Demon Slayer games, if not the Demon Slayer game, that will actually never die. Even though most people bash it, including myself to an extent, I do have to admit that what this game did is pretty crazy on how it's able to keep a consistent player base without die. You know what else doesn't die? My Discord server. I have a Discord server. I haven't advertised it in months, okay? Months. There's no new people, and it's starting to get dry, and I want people to join. I talk in there. I talk there every single day. Look at these messages from me. Some might not be from me. Some might be from me. I'm not saying it's from me, but it might be. So if you do want to join a community where you can be a little bit slow and not be judged for it, feel free to join my Discord server because it's a family and we only preach positivity in there. Join at your own risk. Please don't be below the age of 13. Please. Now, next game I'm going to talk about is actually going to be DemonFall, and if I'm rating them personally on my list for this video, DemonFall is my favorite Demon Slayer game that actually released on the Roblox platform. Now, DemonFall, I really don't know where to start with this game. When it released, it was inside a state where there wasn't much games around to play. Back then on Roblox, the only games you'll be playing during the time that DemonFall released around is actually just going to be Grand Peace Online, and that's pretty much it. If you were in the anime community, I'm pretty sure the only game that was around was Grand Peace Online, and nobody inside the anime community who plays Grand Peace Online would really want to play Blocks, Fruits, or some more of those games that's catered towards kids. So when DemonFall released, it released inside a very good time, which also plays into why a lot of people have really good fond memories of it. Because not only did it release at a good time, the game was actually very fun and good. DemonFall, one of the most important things for it, or the most entertaining things, was actually the combat for DemonFall. Now, it wasn't the best, so I will be saying that. It's just that it was fun, and it actually made it feel like you are inside the Demon Slayer show, or anime, if I'm getting at this the right way. With DemonFall, the main thing that you're doing inside the combat would kind of be to spam your breathing skills, and I guess you can see how that could be an issue now, but it's like when you're actually watching Demon Slayer and then you're coming inside the game and you're like recreating exactly what they do inside the anime, it just kind of gives you a really nice feeling. I guess it's kind of related to a dopamine effect because you're able to literally do what you're seeing inside the anime inside the Roblox game, where the combat is good. And just to expand a little bit more on the combat of DemonFall, the main thing about it that people actually liked was that developers actually put in a lot of thought to the combat and made sure that it was the thing that stood out the most. The important thing about DemonFall is that when developers did combat pushes, they would also like make sure that some skills have hyper armor and some skills combo while not being very broken for a while. It wasn't exactly like, it wasn't perfect, but it was still really good to see developers actually hear the opinion of the community and actually try to make changes around it. The combat in DemonFall, I personally still think is very fun and entertaining even to this day, and I do look forward to when they actually end up updating this game again. I feel like the one thing that DemonFall went wrong in was the progression. You had to get a lot of points to upgrade your body and stuff, and it's just like at a certain level it just became very, very hard. And not only that, some of the things that you were grinding for, after you reach a certain level, the point is kind of useless because it's like you could only grind so much before you eventually reach everything that you need or that you really want. And once you hit that in DemonFall, you didn't really have a reason to play the game anymore unless you was playing ranked. And ranked, after a certain while, it seems like things just started to become a lot more unbalanced. For example, I remember, I'm not sure if this breeding's inside the game, but it was moon breeding. And if you fought moon breeding in ranked in DemonFall, and you still have the memories of it, then you will know it was terrible. That's it, absolutely terrible. I'm not sure if I even uploaded DemonFall content on my channel. If I did, I'll definitely have it playing inside the background. But when this game was in its peak, it definitely was so much fun. And I personally do feel like this game could have a comeback and actually overtop Project Slayers in the platform if they just do the right things, like maybe a map revamp, a combat revamp, and certain things following just like, you know, just revamping the game. Currently for DemonFall, it actually was announced though that the owner RAHHHHHHHHH has been working patiently on the game, and although he's not revealing it now, he's just saying that it was massive, and he did realize over time that being a Roblox developer is actually what he wants to do. DemonFall also still has 8,000 players playing the game, even though it hasn't received an update within 9 to 10 months, which is just crazy. The game is literally about to go a year without updating and it still has 8,000 players. So all the stuff that I listed before is definitely playing into how DemonFall still has an active player base, because with the time that the game released and the combat of the game being actually very good, it leaves a really good memory in people and it would still make them play the game to this day. So DemonFall, all the stuff I've said before with it, you know, re-releasing and rebranding and stuff, I hope it does go good. And now we're moving on to the last game of this video, and that is actually going to be Wisteria 1 and Wisteria 2. So it's technically 2 games. But to start off with Wisteria, if I'm being honest, I feel like out of all the games on this tier list, people would rate Wisteria with the best combat. Now, I'm not sure if I can find any footage of old Wisteria, because the game, like the old game, has actually been really buggy recently, and it's just a huge place filled up with explorers, so I'm pretty sure that the owners of the game actually closed it. But Wisteria, what I remember from memory is that this game's combat was it was literally like the only thing that you needed to worry about. The training system was pretty mid, everything else was very mid, the combat was just what made players like it, which is why people were excited for Wisteria 2, and still are to this day. The combat inside of Wisteria, you actually could parry, and it was parry based while also being extremely fast. The combat in Wisteria, if you messed up and you got hit by like 2 skills, you were dead, and people actually liked it. It kind of put on a high stake environment where if you actually put in the time to actually learn what skills you can parry, how to dodge, if you use your see-through world the right way, you could actually have really fun PvPing just by dodging the skills and not getting hit by the skills. It kind of put everybody on a fair playing ground, because if you literally were skilled at the game, it would show, versus you getting sun breathing, and then let's say somebody else decides to get water breathing. Now, if somebody had sun breathing and you had water breathing, you could still beat them inside Wisteria, because if you were good at the combat, it wouldn't matter. And combat isn't for everybody, but for the select few that it was for, definitely were playing Wisteria, including myself. The game actually did end up closing eventually to revamp into what we know now as Wisteria 2. And I know that there's something going on with Wisteria 3 and Wisteria 2, and I'm not entirely sure on it. I don't know which one is the real, continuation of Wisteria. All I know is that Wisteria 2's release was not the best. Now, I personally was an alpha tester for it, and I actually did give my ideas on the Wisteria release inside the video that's going to pop up right now. See that YouTuber thing? It's in the top right hand corner. But to briefly summarize that video, the release for Wisteria 2 was just not the best. The game came out very buggy, and you would end up just having to do these quest lines, which had a pretty nice story. It's just that it was the only thing for you to do, and sometimes would be soft capped to where you just couldn't do it. And what that basically means is you couldn't do it. You literally couldn't progress because something went wrong that wasn't supposed to go wrong, which would usually end up just being the NPCs not spawning after a certain while, or they just spawn once at the server, and you would literally have to server hop multiple times to find certain NPCs. Now, Wisteria 2, although it did have these issues, for the brief time that it was open, because the game is actually closed right now, it actually did keep a very consistent amount of players, which was hovering around 5k to 6k, which is still absurd to me. It kept a small amount of those players, even though PvP inside the game was honestly terrible. Then this was me talking about Wisteria 2. I don't know what happened after Wisteria, because they did completely rebrand it, and the PvP did look good inside the sneaks. It's just that when you actually played the PvP, it was bad. I'm pretty sure most people would actually agree with me as well. Now, the game right now is actually closed because the developers did state that they want to revamp it, and I hope it doesn't sound like I'm actually hating on the developers for this game, because they are actually very nice people. They are very nice people, and I don't want it to come out as if I'm actually hating on it. And for Wisteria 2, the game did look very good from the sneaks, and when you actually are playing it, it actually did look really good as well. So yeah, like Wisteria 2, it's not a bad game, and it did actually kind of beat the Demon Slayer curse, because for you to carry players from over the years, like the huge time gap from Wisteria 1 to Wisteria 2, and still have players hyped up, takes a lot of dedication to the game, which the game obviously had, hence why it's making it inside this video of Demon Slayer games that just don't die. And the game, like I said before, Wisteria 2 is actually being closed, and for the future of the game, they actually are ending up on just reworking it. I don't know if it's from the ground up, but the game is going to be reworked completely, which I also am looking for the re-release of it to see how that goes as well. But to just summarize up every single Demon Slayer game on this list, they simply just can't and won't die. I feel like Demon Slayer is one of those subjects on the Roblox platform where it's like, if you just meet some of the simple requirements, have decent graphics, and either excel inside PvP or you excel inside PvE, you will have a really, really good fan base. But let me actually know your opinion on these Demon Slayer games. As for every single video, I literally read comments and I actively engage with you in the comments. So comment. If you did enjoy it, let me know what you think about this video, and if you want to see more content based around like a certain category of games like One Piece or Bleach. And outside of that, thanks again for watching, and like and subscribe if you liked and felt like subscribing. Yeah.